Hey guys, it's your BFF again today. We're going to do some drop sets, and there is a longer explanation of what drop sets consist of underneath the video, so you can check that out. But basically what we're doing is we're going to challenge our muscles. Don't get excited when you see that there's only a few exercises listed there because we're still going to do a lot of reps. But what we're going to do is we're going to start with the heaviest weight that we can possibly do for each exercise. We're going to do one set with those weights. We'll take a short break so that you can assess whether or not that was the right place to start. And then you'll do another set, repeat that set with the same weight or with an adjusted weight. And then you'll go immediately and drop into the next lower weight, do fewer reps, and then the next lower weight and fewer reps. Now, for simplicity's sake, I generally try to start with the heaviest weight. I do the same number of reps as the weight that I'm lifting. So if I pick up a 15, I try to do 15 reps. That may not fit you. You can adjust. Like I said, there's a longer explanation of this, but it basically comes down to we're doing 4 sets of each exercise, and we have 6 exercises that we're going to do. And in the process of doing that, you're going to do a lot of reps because you're going to do 4 sets of those, and you're going to drop each time. Drop the weight, drop the number of reps. So these are called drop sets, and we're going to get started. We're going to do exercises that you're probably familiar with. We're going to do a bicep curl. We're going to do a hinged row. So bicep curl, of course, is just hip to shoulder, nice and controlled with your weights facing out. Then you're going to be in a hinged row position, hinged. Remember, your booty's going to be back, belly button squeezed in, nice flat back. You're going to start with your shoulder blades activated with this. So I want you to pull your shoulder blades like you're pinching a pencil or something between them. Start there with your weights. Then you're going to extend and reach for the floor, not locking your elbows, but just reaching, extending fully, and bringing those elbows back towards your hip. So back and down towards the hip. Then you're going to do a chest or Pec Fly on the bench. We've done those before. You can do it on the floor. You can do it on a stability ball. We're going to be here. We're going to do our fly, which we push out from our chest and open up. That's our fly. Then we're going to do a Renegade Row, which is plank position, nice flat torso, down from your ankles up to your shoulders, nice and flat. You'll have a weight in each hand, and you're going to row one hand at a time, rowing it back in that position. Then we're going to do a weighted glute bridge, which we've done before, on your back. Weight is on your pelvis, low towards your hips, and you're going to lift and lower, pushing through those heels, belly button squeezed in. You're going to lift and lower that weight as you hold it there. And then the last exercise, we're going to do walking lunges. You basically have the weights in your hands, and you're going to take steps that are lunge position steps. You'll have to turn unless you have a nice long room or space to do them in. Okay? And again, for simplicity's sake, I like to do the number of the weight that I'm lifting. So we're going to start with bicep curls. I'm picking up 12s. And you can join me with whatever weight you have, but we're going to do 12 together. You're going to lift, breathe out, in, out, and just keep going. Nice and controlled. Remember that body is in neutral. This is 5. Keep going. Halfway there. Breathe. 3 more. Squeeze your glutes so that you're not arching your back. Last one. And you're good for that first set. So what you're going to want to do is decide whether that was heavy enough or too heavy. Take a little bit of a break, just a few seconds. And if that weight was appropriate, you're going to pick them back up. Do 12 more. Now, between the next 2 sets, you're going to not take a break. You're just going to pick up those weights and go to it. We're 1/3 of the way. Good. Keep breathing. Halfway. Good. Going to get our 12 in. 4 more. 4, 3, squeeze your glutes, 2, starts to get heavy, and 1. So you drop down immediately. I'm going to drop down to 10s. Go right into it. I'm going to do this from the side just so you get a different view. Shoulders back and down, right into it. Squeeze your glutes. Muscles are getting fatigued. Definitely pushing them. 3 more. 3, 2, 1. That full extension. Down to the next weight. I've got 8s here, so we're going to do 8. Makes me thankful. We're going to be in a different position. Last one. And you're done with those bicep curls. So as you can see, these will go fairly quickly. This might turn into a little shorter workout for you, depending on how long your breaks are in between those sets of 4. All right, so we're going to move right in to our next exercise, which is that hinged row. I'm going to pick up my 12s again. Sometimes I can go a little heavier. You just have to gauge where you're at. Today I'm on 12s. There are times I can do 15 here. All right, so remember, we're going to start in that engaged position. Get those shoulders back out of your ears, but shoulder blades are squeezed together. Then you're going to reach. Remember, keep your belly button squeezed in. Keep that back nice and strong. Halfway there. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take that short break. Decide if that was heavy enough. If you can go heavier, go heavier. If not, stick with that weight. Again, 10 seconds or 20 seconds, depending on how heavy you're lifting and how much of a break you feel like you need. We'll pick those back up, do our next set of 12. And again, remember, no breaks after this till you're done. Get into that engaged position. Make sure everything is organized. Reach for the floor. 1. Breathe. 2. Inhale. Make sure your shoulders stay out of your ears. You're pulling them back towards that hip. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Drop your weight down. You did 2 sets there. We're going to do 1 set with our 10s. Again, get into that hinged position. Organize. Slight bend in the knees. Belly button squeezed in. Get your elbows back. Your shoulder blades pinched. Reach for the floor. 1. This is 8, 9, 10. Quickly get your other weights. Drop down to those 8s. Get organized again. Hinge. Reach. Get into that position. Reach for the floor. Bring them back. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Good. 4 more. And you're done. Just about the time you feel like you can't do any more, it's time to be done. Good thing. All right, so next one is your fly. You can be on the floor, on your stability ball, or if you have a bench, you can use a bench. I like to use the bench. Remember that for the Pec Fly, you're going to be opening up. So you have to be really careful about how heavy you're lifting because you're putting those shoulders in a somewhat vulnerable position. If you're on the floor, you have that floor to stop you so that you can't open up too far. When you're on the bench, you have to determine that for yourself and be conscious of that. So I like it on the bench because it forces me to think more about what I'm doing. So I'm going to go with the 12s again. This will be a little bit of a challenge. And if I can't maintain that, I can drop down in my second set, but I'm going to try to do my first two with the 12s. Back is nice and flat. You can lift the feet if you'd like, or keep them on the bench. Make sure you flatten that back. Push out. And you're going to inhale as you come down. Remember, slight bend in those elbows, so you're hugging a tree when you come up and around. Big hug on that big tree trunk. Again, I have 12s. So for me, I'll do 12 reps. Just helps me stay on track. We have 5 more. 5, 4, 3, 2. Make sure those shoulders stay down out of your ears. Last one. Carefully bring them to your chest. Roll up. Carefully move the weights. Shake it out, wiggle it out a little bit. Make your determination as to whether or not this was the right weight. And for me, it was. It was good. And when you're done with your little break there, that assessment, you're going to come back down, organize, push out, and do 12 more. 6. We have 6 more. Keep going. Keep breathing. Watch how far you're opening if you're on a bench. 3 more. 2 more. Last one with this weight. Carefully come up. You're going to grab your other weights and immediately go back into it. And again, those first couple of rounds, those first couple of sets aren't too bad. Like I said, sometimes if we're not doing 4 rounds, you could do a little heavier, but you have to be smart about what you're choosing as your weights, your beginning weights. That's why you take that little break, so you can really assess if you're in the right spot. We're doing our 10s. That's 3. Make sure you breathe. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Hug that tree. Inhale, exhale. 4 more. Good. Starting to get fatigued in those arms and shoulders. A lot of arms and shoulders here. Good. Last one. Good. Now, just because you don't want to take a break between these sets doesn't mean you're going to rush in your movement to get your other weights. Just have them out, like I do, and ready to go. Make sure you have plenty of choices in case you need to change your mind. But there's not a rush there. It's just no break in between the sets so that you get those arms, in this case, fatigued. We're down to our 8s. You're basically just going to drop 10 to 15% in the weight that you're using each time you drop down. Sometimes you might drop down far enough that you don't have a weight that light. You just do it without weights. We have 2 more here to hit our 8. And bring them to your chest. Carefully come up. And you're done with that round. So, you've done a great job so far. Next, we're going to do our Renegade Rows. We're going to be on the floor. If you need to get a mat out, you can do that right now. Determine what weight you can use. Usually you can go a little heavier with these. But you also have to consider that you have to balance. So, I can sometimes do a heavier weight with a Renegade Row if we're not doing this many sets. And if I'm not doing it in front of a camera. So we're going to go with 12s. And because of the fact that you are going to lift, you're going to have your feet wide to give you that base, as well as think about the fact that you are lifting, and if you go too heavy, it might make you fall over. Okay? So just keep that in mind. We are going to alternate here. Bring that row back. Try to make sure the rest of your body stays put. Now, if you're new to these and you want to do 12 total, then that's fine. We're going to try to do 12 per side. And keep in mind, you have to be careful about how you set them down so they don't roll on you. I believe that's 8. This is 9, 10, 11, both sides, and 12. Knees down, gently, and here's where you get your little break. Of course, we're doing a lot of upper body with this, so if you need a little break here, go ahead and take it. Assess whether or not you've got the right weights. And whether or not those weights work for you. If you use the neoprene weights, you have to be super, super careful that they don't roll out from under you. These black weights have a tendency to have a larger surface that you can set them on, and they tend to roll a little less, but you still have to be careful. So let's do 12 more. Good. Breathe. You may not be able to go at the same pace. You might be able to go faster, or you might need to go slower. It's totally fine. But take your time setting them down. I believe this is 8, but 4 more both sides. Keep going. Breathe. And come down. So you got those rough ones done. Carefully move your weights out of the way. Grab your next lighter weight. Remember, we're going down in weights, and we're going down in reps. Catch your breath a little bit as you get organized. Back up into that plank. Check your plank position. First, wide legs, then start your row. Breathe. Each time you lift, seven. 3 more both sides. Last one. And knees down. Now, if you really have a rough time in that position, some people prefer to come into this lower position on your knees and pull it up. If that is easier for you, that's fine. I have a tendency to twist more when I'm doing that, so it actually is not easier for me. But if you find that you can do that and do it safely, then you go right ahead. Now, these are neoprenes because I didn't want to drop all the way to 5s for this row. So I have to be a little more careful. Now, the other thing you can do to help stabilize is use one weight and adjust between each one if you're afraid that the weights might move on you a bit. So you can do just like that. Try not to lean too much. I'm going to go back to both sides. That's 4. We only have 4 more to go, guys. Stick with it. 2 more. Both sides. Last one. And you're done. A lot of arms and core in this. But now we finally got to the glutes here next. So you're going to pick a heavier weight for your glute bridge because most of us can. No judgment as to how heavy you go, but I would like you to challenge yourself. I'm going to go with the 15s, but I generally go even heavier with It's actually, I am going to grab the 20. So I'm grabbing the 20 mainly because I want to remind you how to load this heavier weight. You only need one. And remember, we turn it on its side, we turn on our side, we load it, and then roll over. Hold the weight here. You're going to dig your heels in, lift your toes inside your shoes just a little bit. Everything else is flat on the mat. Shoulders are back and down from your ears. And you're just going to squeeze. Little pause at the top to breathe. Now I picked up the 20. Guess what that means? I got to do 20 reps. So again, you adjust this for yourself. But most of us can load a lot more weight on our hips like this than we can our upper body. So you're going to go to it. We're about at 10. So we're going to count 10. Breathe. 7 more. As you come down, you're going to slightly release those glutes, and then you're going to squeeze them again at the top. 3 more. Last one. Good. Now, you can unload that weight. Again, carefully roll. Roll it over to your side and roll it off and put it down. And don't ever leave it on its end because it could tip over. So, take a break. Make sure that's the weight you needed. If you need to go heavier or lighter, you do that. I'm going to stick with this 20. So I'm going to turn it on its end, put it near my hip, roll it back over. We're going to do 20 more. Hold it in place, organize everything else. Toes are up inside your shoes. Lift, push through those heels. You're getting there, friends. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Again, no rush in trading out your weights. Make sure you're careful. I'm going to put that 20 over here. When you're done with that, baby. 15, not quite as heavy. It's a little easier to load it on. You can usually pick that one up and get started. Remember, squeeze and push, release a little. Squeeze and push. Those glutes are starting to feel it. We have 5 more. We've got a 15 here. 3, 2, and 1. Now again, that's a little more than dropping 10%, but a lot of times I do it just because my brain can only handle so many numbers at one time. So we're down to our 12s. We're going to do 12 more. Heels pushing in. Glutes are squeezing at the top. Down and inhale. Up and exhale. Halfway there. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And you're done. We have one more exercise left. Take a little break, drink some water. Okay, so we're on our last exercise, and that is going to be a walking lunge. I'm also going to show you an alternative in case you have problems with your knees doing walking lunges. Put your mat away from our previous exercise, and you're going to pick up the heavier weights that you think you can use for a lunge. I'm using 15s, and again, You just want an area where you can take at least 3 or 4 steps in one direction and then turn and repeat. And we're going to count out 15 steps. And then we're going to repeat it with these weights if they are an appropriate weight. So shoulders back and down, carry the weights back by your hip. Don't let them go forward because that will cause a problem for your knees. And you're just going to walk in a big lunge, walk. We can do about 4 across here, it looks like. And then we'll go back. Make sure that you are careful when you turn and that you reorganize each time. Some of you might be fortunate enough to have a space where you won't have to have any turns, or they won't be complete turns, and that's great. So at 12, leave, and that should be about 15. So again, assess your weight, make sure that was the right weight for you, and while you're doing that, taking your little break, I'm going to go right into the alternative is to either carry here at your hip, I'll carry on this side, or at your shoulder, carry one weight and do a farmer's carry, which does not have the lunge. And you're just walking back and forth about 15 or so, if that's what you're carrying. And then you'll repeat on the other side. So you're actually doing twice as many as what we are, but you are doing it in a way that is easier on your body. So if you want to use that alternative, you can. We're going to stick with the lunges, and we're going to do them again with our 15s. Nice and easy. Remember, the weight stays in that front heel as you push up and out of it. The big toe in the back is helping, but most of the weight is in that heel. Again, turn carefully. You can go back and forth or around your room. We should be around 12 here. Keep walking. Nice lunges. Get to your 15. Now we immediately drop it and go into our 12. And keep going. If you're doing the farmer's carry, you're doing twice as many, but it's a little easier on your body, on your legs. Make sure you breathe. And that should be 12. I'll unload carefully, load back up with my 10s. We'll do 10 more. Breathe when you come out. Inhale. It's 4. 2 more. Keep those weights back. And you're done. So, those are your drop sets. Again, you'll have to alter your weights and your numbers so they make sense for you. The main thing is you do 4 sets of each exercise at those dropping weights and those dropping repetitions. And you got it made. Great job. See you next time.